Hi, Nicole. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
So, we are going to talk about Winback, and there's all kinds of different Winback. And I thought, what if we talk about Winback from the point of view of a consumer? Say for a large company like a cable company, they've got massive numbers of customers. There's so much unhappiness with cable companies, or at least there is in our neck of the woods. And but still, there is still some competition, so you still have the option of leaving for another service. So do you have a story around something like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have a story. How many times have you been unhappy with slow internet? Or, in my case, I got hacked. This was a few years back. I got hacked, and sometimes it feels like a nightmare to be put on hold. You have customer service teams that are just, taking complaint after complaint, and you're on hold. It's so frustrating. It's like first you have a bad experience and then you have to be on hold, right? However, this cable company handled the situation really well. I was impressed. They were apologetic. They took the time to say, look, I'm really sorry you got, somebody did this to you. They took measures to make me feel safe. That was number one. And then number two, they offered a bit of a discount to stay with them, right? Because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I should just, leave this situation and start a new one, and go somewhere else. But the way they handled it, it's all about the communication, and they just seem to care. When people are scripted over the phone, and when they're told to say certain things, but they were very genuine at that moment. I felt that way. And that's what kept me going.
Yeah, showing empathy, is just so critical. If they show empathy, hear your story, uh, let you share your feelings, you need to unload that. You can unload that on them, and unload is a strong term. I could just use something a little less serious, but you know, we leave companies because of how we're treated. Everybody screws up. There's always going to be problems in anything technical, and that's all forgivable. But what isn't forgivable is them not caring about you as a person and what you've been through. What do you think about that? Am I overshooting it?
No, you're not. You're not overshooting it. I know you said showing empathy. The only thing I would tweak there is saying having empathy,
Hmm.
having it. Because
Even better. Yeah.
if you have it, you don't need to put on that kind of front. You don't have to put on a front. People know when you're with them, people know when you're not.
Yep.
And you can't force these things.
And you bring up another great point is the type of personality you need for the win back or for the customer loyalty or whatever customer retention, whatever you call it, is so important because they do have to be that kind of an empathetic person. It's not like, okay, we're sorry what happened, we're going to give you this and this and this. They still need, like you said, they need to show that empathy.
They do. They do. And you hear it in the tone of voice.
Hmm.
You hear it, you can feel it. It's one of those things that you feel, right? I have another story if you want to hear this
Hmm.
one.
Yeah.
This is, less, company wide with like a customer service team. This is more consumer based. And I went out for dinner, for example, my birthday,
Mm.
and the reservations got screwed up, right? They got screwed up. You really know about the establishment based on how they treat their people, their guests, and based on, so many things, right? It's just the treatment. Everyone makes mistakes, things
Hmm.
happen, right? But the way we were treated just showed that, what, we don't want to lose these regular customers. We really value our name and what people are going to say about us, and we want to fix the problem. So we got like invitations back to come in and dine and not worry about the cost, not worry about anything, right? It's an easy thing to do, but the fact that they did it and the way they spoke about it right? All of these things really make a difference. And how did you feel when XYZ happened? Like we had certain things that happened that night beyond, getting the wrong table. There were a few people in the establishment that were kind of a little rough, I would say, a little rough around the edges, for lack of a better term. And the way, they apologized for that, and the way they asked us questions, what would you have liked to seen, or why did this happen, or just taking the time so that, again, they're building that reputation. And it makes you want to go back, and it makes you as a consumer say, okay, well, look, things happen, right? Let's go back. And I do believe that if you do take the time to fix the problem, whatever the problem is, at the right time, then you can win back the customer. But if you wait too long, or, time passes you by, it just right there. I think the key is timing.
Timing is huge. You can't let bad feelings fester. They just get worse and worse and worse. You've got to nip them in the bud, as uncomfortable as it might be. But you made another point, and that was about reputation. These restaurants, there's so much competition, and they live and die
Mhm.
by the reputation. And so you've got to treat everyone really well, even right or wrong, because they can do so much damage,
Oh, yeah.
and on the positive side, they can do so much good. So, they were really smart for doing what they did. I mean, that's the big problem with a lot of companies. Even when they do win back, they afraid, okay, fine, we know winning back a lost customer is easier than getting a new one, so we're going to put people on them. But they don't take it seriously enough, and they put their poorest people on win back. No, you got to do the exact opposite. You've got to put your best people on win back. You've got to always put your best foot forward, especially when there's a problem. So this restaurant, they put their best foot forward with a problem. So good for them.
And you
I
know
feel like
what? Oh,
what?
go ahead.
No, no, please go ahead.
I was going to say, everyone makes mistakes. See, like I know there are some like really nitpicky people out there, of course, and they expect everything to be just so, right? They just expect the world, the moon and back.
Hmm.
And that's just not realistic. Like every person, if you're a human being, you're going to make a mistake some point or other. He can have a bad day. Something could have happened personally that is affecting your work day. Like there's so many things that can happen. And I think people fail to forget this. They just see what is in front of them. They can't see that behavior might not be the same behavior every day. If they just
Hmm.
look at that individual's behavior at that particular moment, right? So it's just something
Exactly.
to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, can we have one more story before we wrap up?
One more story. Okay. All right. I got one. I got one. This is a few years back. I was traveling to the Caribbean, and my luggage stayed in Toronto.
Oh
My
God.
luggage stayed at home in Toronto for 6 days. I was away for a week. For 6 days, I was like, wow, what am I going to do? I've got no clothes, I've got nothing. Right. So, this company was very cool about the situation. First of all, they assured that they would provide funds for the week to just get, necessities. They stayed in touch throughout the week. I managed to even have an amazing time despite the situation. I said, but that was part of my personality type,
Hmm.
which is I'm just jumping in the ocean. It doesn't matter. But, they did what they had to do. And then my luggage did end up arriving like the day before I had to
Hmm.
fly back home. You know, that was reassuring, even though it took that long. And then finally, when I did get back home, they offered money towards another flight in the future. So they provided funds during the week, they stayed in touch during the week, and then they provided funds towards another flight. So it really did end up working out. It was just I would say honestly, the first 2 days were stressful, right? The
Right.
first few days were stressful, but they took action right away. They stayed, I think the communication was so important because they then allowed me to relax, and there were a whole group of other people where, their luggage didn't come in either. They allowed us to relax by updating us throughout and then letting us know, by the way, your luggage is going to come in a couple of days. Let us know. So all of those factors allowed me to relax and actually have a good trip, despite.
Yeah. That communication is massive. I remember the first time I had my luggage lost, and it was. I mean, I had to literally buy a bathing suit down there, buy a pair of sandals and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so anyway, now whenever I go down to the Caribbean, I go down a couple of times, once in the fall and once in the spring, and I always have enough to keep me going for a week. Two bathing suits, a pair of sandals, a change of clothes like that. But um, the whole idea of how well they take care of you when there is a problem, I mean, this is your holiday. This is super, super precious time. So if they do really well by you, you're going to speak so well of them, and people are going to have a lot more confidence in that particular tour group or airline or
Yeah.
whatever you used. No, it's massive. It's massive.
I'm
So
not going to lie. I was not happy the first day or two. I was stressed out, like I was. And I'm sure like a bunch of people were stressed out, but they turned it around, is what I'm saying. And they did it in time.
yeah, well, that's tremendous. I mean, I know you're waiting on that luggage carousel, and everybody else has got their luggage, but you and a couple of other people, and you just, you're hoping like crazy it's going to come off. And so, how fast did they take care of you? Was it at the airport? Was it at the hotel?
At the hotel, they had group meetings to keep us informed. So there was
Oh,
myself and about 8 other people
oh, wow.
that this happened to, and they kept us informed. Group meetings face to face. This is what's going to happen. Here's money for the week. Literally, they gave us cash on hand for the week.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
I know.
That is really
I
impressive.
know.
When it happened to me, we had to keep our bills and everything else, and they're going to reimburse us like 50% or something. So, yeah, good on you. That's great. So, what do you think your top two or three big takeaways are uh, for winning back a customer after you've screwed things up, or just keeping them so you don't lose them after a mess up?
Timing is number one. Timing is number one. Don't wait too long to fix the problem, because on my end, I have waited and it's not good, because then, you really think, well, oh, what's another week, or it matters.
Hmm.
Timing matters, right? You learn from experience. Timing matters. That's number one. Two, communicate, communicate, communicate. I think people avoid it because it's awkward. It's uncomfortable. You've upset someone. You don't want to get blasted, right? So I would say timing, communication, and you want a third one? Oh, I'm having a hard time with the third one.
Two's plenty. Those two are great.
Okay,
Those
all
two are
right. Those two,
fantastic.
we're gonna stick to those two.
Yeah, that's great. So, if anyone would like to learn more about you and what you do, where would they go?
Nicole at prospect2win.com. It's just the best place to email me, Nicole at prospect, the number two, win.com.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Nicole.
Thank you.